Yeah, this is Jesse James Dupree from Jackyl. You dial right smack dab on top of talking metal. Crank that bitch up. Yeah. However you want to say it is.
How do you say it?
I say Rowico.
Rowico, right. Hey, this is Mark Strigl of Talking Metal, and we are here with Jesse, who has a brand new record out with Jackyl, Rowico. Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing good. Glad to sit here and argue with you how to pronounce Rowico. So.
Yeah, I was saying Rowico, but you're saying Rowico.
Well, I'm just from the South. It's just like you say tomato and I say mater, right? Right. Mater, tater, all that stuff.
Right on. Well, it's a great record, and you guys have been pretty consistent with new records these past few years. What creatively influences you to keep coming out with new music?
You know what? I wake up every single day. In a panic that I have an anxiety because I think that this has all been a dream, and that I've actually got to go pour concrete for a living. And when that finally subsides and I realize it hadn't been a dream, and it's all really happened, I jump up and take as big a bite out of life's ass as I can. And I've been very, very blessed to have a recording studio, on my property. I got a partner named Jeff Tomei that he did Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dreams record. He did Matchbox 20's first couple of records. He's worked everybody from Isaac Hayes to Corrosion of Conformity, and he's my partner in the studio. And so when I've got an asset like Jeff Tomei, and then recently I brought the Neve console out of Chungking Studios up in New York, and so everybody from the Beastie Boys recorded their first album on this thing, to Santana to Beyonce to Ted Nugent to Run DMC. I mean, there's been a lot of great records recorded on this incredible Neve console, and I've got it in the studio now, and it's just, it's hard not to want to just live in there because it's truly a dream come true. I mean, when I was a 15-year-old kid drawing stage setups on my notebooks in high school, if you'd have, fast forwarded me to be able to, go in a studio and hit the lights and have all the bells and whistles and toys that we got, and it's just trying to take advantage of, not being irresponsible with the blessings that I've had, and so it's generated, a couple of new albums in the last, 5 years or so.
Right on. And do you produce it yourself, being it's your studio, or do you work with an outside producer?
We've worked, primarily it's, Jeff Tomei and myself, and we've worked some with Jude Cole. Jude's, an amazing producer, songwriter and stuff, and but we did like what was that? The last single there's a single that we had off the last album that was "Favorite Sin" was produced by Jude. But but we've been very fun. We've worked with Kevin Shirley over the years, and we gave Brendan O'Brien his first gold record for producing. Wow. Before he went on to do Stone Temple Pilots and Aerosmith and all that stuff. So in ACDC, and so we worked with a lot of great people. We've learned from the best. I'll put it that way.
And Jackyl, of course, is playing here at the Rock Carnival in New Jersey. We got rained out about half the bands yesterday, so we're hoping the weather stays nice for you guys today. Although it's not really nice, I'd say. We're hoping it doesn't rain and wind like yesterday.
It could be worse, I guess, looking outside. But, the show's going on, and we're going to jam. We can't jam any harder than we're going to jam. I mean, if it's raining, if it's sunshine, and if it's in a 1,000-seat venue or a 20,000-seat stadium or whatever, we're gonna do what we do regardless.
Right on. And you're a guy who always has so much stuff going on. Let's hit some of the other things outside of Jackyl. What is the current status of Full Throttle Saloon TV show?
Well, the Full Throttle Saloon, as you know, burnt down a year ago, September, and it was $10 million worth of ashes and a lot of hurt feelings because we didn't have any insurance or, for fire insurance, because there was no running water on the property. There was no local fire department. It was just, so no insurance would even look at us. We're out in the middle of the Black Hills of South Dakota. But we licked our wounds, and then we moved down the road about 5 miles, and we bought 600 acres. Wow. And so we now have 600 acres. We have a grocery store, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. We got RV hookups. It's called the Pappy Hoyle Campground, PAPPYHOEL Campground. And you can go to pappyhoylecampground.com and check out all that stuff. But we moved down there and opened up the new Full Throttle Saloon, and you're just going to start. Start creating the magic there now. So that's great. And as far as the TV show goes, we couldn't, to answer your question about that, we couldn't commit to doing the TV show because the bar had burnt down. Right. But 6 seasons of a reality show, that's a lot. 6 seasons is a lot. And I actually enjoyed this past year when I didn't have cameras on my ass the whole time, yeah. And although I executive produced that show as well, so, part of me did miss doing it, just because, I was accustomed to putting it all together, and it's fun to produce the TV shows. But 6 years for that. So Michael and I framed up another conceit that we're working on, and hopefully maybe shoot a pilot for that coming up in the next couple of months.
Nice. And when you're producing these TV shows, are you sitting in the edit room and frame fucking the editor and all that type of stuff?
I do. I'm executive. I created and executive produced. I did two-a-days on MTV. I don't know if you saw that show or not. The series about the fanatical high school football program in Hoover, Alabama.
I heard
The
about
Hoover
it.
Bucks. Yeah. But I executive produced that show and did a couple of seasons with MTV with that, and I've produced a couple of pay-per-views and just various things over the years. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be able to to get away with doing a lot of stuff that I never thought I'd be doing. But when I'm executive producing these shows, I'm everything from how we're going to shoot it, when we're going to shoot it, where we're going to shoot it, what's going to get shot out of that, and then we go into the edit, and I oversee it from soup to nuts.
Wow.
With all the way down to deliver. I argue with the network about what they're wrong about whenever they're wanting to
when
cut
they
stuff
notes
out.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
because always like with True TV on the original Full Throttle series, I used to have to argue with the network all the time because they always wanted to cut the part out about, because every year we'd do a salute to the troops.
Right.
And I just wasn't going to have it, but it was a constant battle because they just didn't want to go there. They didn't realize how important that is to everybody out to to take a minute and appreciate our men and women in uniform. But I fight for everything you can imagine for them not to kill my babies.
Right on. Right on. You mentioned Run DMC just briefly earlier, and I recently interviewed Darryl McDaniels, and he spoke real highly of you. What's your relationship? How well do you know Darryl?
I love Darryl to death. I mean, Darryl is a brother, man. He's seriously he's the real deal, and Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, but just as humble as he can be. And he was my son came. I have that recording studio at my house, and my son came into my office one day. He goes, "Hey, guess who's in the studio?" And I said, "Who?" And he goes, "Darryl Mack, DMC." And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I forgot that Jeff Tomei had him up there in a session.
Oh, wow.
And I think they were working with Colt Ford or something. And I went, "Oh, okay." So he goes, "Darryl, he wants you to come in and say hey," And so I went in and introduced myself. And I played him some tracks that Jackyl was working on, and one of them was Just Like a Negro. And he goes, "You got to give me 16 bars on that."
Right.
And so we carved out 16 bars for him, and he laid down his part. And then he said, "Let me know if y'all go out on tour. We'll do it together." And he came and spent a couple of months on the road with us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just touring and just a great guy.
Cool. And you mentioned your son. He does music too. Can you tell us a little bit about his band and what he's up to musically?
Yeah, recently he's been playing with a band called Wayland, Wayland, and they're out touring around, and I've been managing those guys as well, and just on the verge of getting ready to put their first album out in early 2017. But you can check them out, Wayland, and they're out of Wayland, Michigan. But just a great band. But Nigel's been playing with those guys and having a blast.
Brian Johnson is no longer with ACDC. We know that, and there's been some rumors that you may have done a jam session with ACDC. Can you confirm that? I don't know if it's something you can talk about. True, false? Can't talk about it?
No, I haven't. I didn't. I mean, when it all went down, my phone was ringing off the hook with, everybody, speculating what was happening with the band, or wanting to know what I knew or what I was going to do or whatever. And it's an honor for people to even think about something like that. But in my opinion, nobody fills Brian Johnson's shoes while Brian Johnson's still filling them.
Yeah.
And my hope, and I was with them the last night he performed with them.
Wow.
And I knew how what kind of bad shape he was in, as far because it wasn't just his hearing. I think it was messing with his equilibrium as well. I mean, I don't think he's ever really talked about it, but I could kind of tell he just seemed a little off balance. As far as, and he's not a quitter. I mean, Brian is not a quitter. I mean, he'll fight to the death for anything. So if he throws his hand up and says, "Hey guys, I need a minute to deal with something," it's for real.
Yeah.
And you better believe that, because he's not a quitter. And I've got my own opinions, like everybody does, about maybe how I wish it had been handled, But at the end of the day, nobody knows what all was going on. I mean, on Angus's side of things, I mean, he he'd lost his brother from the band, recently, and had, just had a lot of pressure on him, from a couple of different things. So I mean, you just can't say. So I stay out of it. It's like a marriage. If you stick your hand in the middle of a couple fighting, once they get back together and they're back doing the dirty and bumping uglies and all that stuff, you're out. And so I just kind of stay out of that mix. So, that way I can still be friends with all of them. But Brian is my brother and an inspiration. And again, he's everything in the lead singer of ACDC you'd want him to be. Just a great guy.